love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things would be much better if you only will. I cut it off early on purpose. Good morning, everybody. This is the new Unity Choir. So let's give them a hand. And nice to see you all. Here's Terry Peters. Oh, Sue Ellen.
Actually, it's Sue Ellen. Good morning. Terry will follow me shortly. I was just over there singing, so I need a moment to get myself collected here. Okay. We want to welcome all of you to Unity of Michiana Spiritual Center, both the people who are here in person and the people who are joining us online. We're glad that you're here. We're going to start by taking into our hearts our mission statement, which is, we are a heart-centered, multi-generational, and diverse spiritual community, dedicated to teaching and practicing a positive life approach in our spiritual journey. And our vision is a world united in loving acceptance, celebrating inclusivity, harmony, prosperity, and awakened consciousness. So this is just a reminder, we will be celebrating September birthdays a little later in the service. So for those of you watching on the live stream, please comment and share if you have a birthday this month so we can include you in that celebration. Okay, I am going to ask Terry to come up now and light the Christ candle. And we will have the blessing of the children, except there are no children here yet today. There is, oh yes, there is a little children here. Yeah, you want to bring her up? If she will be okay with that. And Tim, what's her name? Mia. Okay. Let's rub our hands together, please, to generate that energy. And our child is Mia, so we're going to direct our blessing to her. Mia, we see the beautiful light of Christ in you. Mia, we see the beautiful light of Christ in you. And we are so happy that you are here. And we are so happy that you are here. Now just think, we were all that adorable at a certain age. So I want you to take that into your heart. You can continue to be that adorable, okay? That means you. Okay. I'm going to share the opening prayer with you. And I'd like to share just a sentence about how I came to this prayer. I was feeling rather verklempt this week, which means kind of down and disorganized. I realized that yesterday would have been Mary Lou Siebold's 92nd birthday. And also, I think most of you in this room know by this point that Denny Martin passed on Wednesday from a heart attack. And Terry's going to share a little bit more details about that later. But I was just feeling kind of, how do you recover and manage these things? And then I came upon this prayer on YouTube, of all places. So, who says that social media can't offer us something? So, if you'll just center yourself and let my words be your words. From the respect and gratitude I feel in my heart and mind, I thank the Christ within me for my ability to celebrate here my connection with omnipresent Spirit. And I express my gratitude to that Spirit for guiding, protecting, and for providing for me and for those I love. Thank you for blessing us with all that we need, for the life I've already lived, and for the prosperous life I'm now living, for guiding and protecting me, for providing for me in all my past years, for guiding and protecting me through all the present and future challenges, for speaking to me through the words and actions of the spiritual beings of others, for the revelations of my higher mind that attract others, and for my God power to call down blessings upon us all. And a quote from Wayne Dyer, "When you seek happiness for yourself, it will always elude you. When you seek happiness for others, you will find it for yourself." Amen. Now it's time to celebrate September birthdays. I'll ask people to stand in a moment, but Susan, has anybody online mentioned that they have a birthday?
Not, but I know it is Terry Strunk Olivier's birthday this month, and
Okay.
also Eric Eckert.
Eric Eckert and
And
Terry Strunk Olivier.
Cliff, who is here.
Cliff, don't be shy. Stand up. Okay, yes. So we're going to wish Cliff a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now. Okay, now we have our opening song. Is that correct?
Stay there if you wanted to. If you have
I
music.
need to be over here by my words. That's okay. Okay, but Tim's joining me. Yes, yes. Good. All right.
And then I'm going to sing the second song right after. So
Okay.
you probably just stay up there.
Okay.
Oh, no. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. I am Holy Spirit divine. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, to see. I am holy, feeling love. I am healing me. We are Holy Spirit divine. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, healing me. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you are discouraged, trying to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what I have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only there for God. No more struggles, no more strife. I let the Spirit hit my life. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only there for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. And I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. All right, let's hear it for the participants. We're gonna keep doing this and polish things as we go. And
Forgot to mention that we're going to be reversing the meditation and the message today. But before that, I want to invite Martha McLaughlin up to read and share with us our daily word for today.
Good morning. Our daily word for today is refresh. Honoring the divine presence within, I am refreshed. Stretching and yawning after a good sleep, enjoying a brisk walk in the early morning, or sipping a refreshing drink after a workout or time in the sun, I feel refreshed. I move forward into my next activity with renewed feeling of well-being. Building upon and refreshing my knowledge may relieve me from thinking too much about my obligations. Spending time with a good book or revisiting favorite passages from my favorite writings give me a relaxing mental pause. I find many opportunities to refresh my awareness that God, the divine presence, is within me wherever I am, whatever I am doing. It takes only a moment to find God's presence reflected in the people and animals I encounter, and in the natural beauty that surrounds me, so that by God's will, I may come to you with joy and be refreshed in your company. Romans 15:32. Today's day of the word is refresh.
Yeah, I found this song. It's by one of my favorite the Unity artists. She's not really Unity, but she overlaps us. Claudia Carawan. And yeah, I listened to a little bit of the message ahead of time and kind of came to the song from that. So it's nice. She's a great singer. But anyway, here we go. Something stirring, I can feel it. It's got a hold on me. I know a change is coming. I feel the Spirit moving inside of me. Moving inside of me. Moving inside of me. Lifting me to higher heights. Setting my heart free. And I know there's no turning back now. I feel the Spirit moving inside of me. The winds of change are blowing. I'm dancing with my dream. Inspiration's flowing. I feel the Spirit moving inside of me. Moving inside of me. Moving inside of me. Lifting me to higher heights. Setting my heart free. And I know there's no turning back now. That I feel the Spirit moving inside of me. You guys can sing this part after this. Moving, 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 moving inside of me. Now it goes faster. Moving, 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 moving inside of me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Moving, moving, moving. Moving, 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 moving inside of me. And I know there's no turning back now. Well, I feel the Spirit moving inside of me.
Thank you, John. You always find just the perfect song to go along with the message because, as I'm going to introduce in a moment, Martha Creek talks about it all starting inside. Starts inside and then it moves out to the world. So thank you, John. We do have, I forgot to mention, but I guess you figured out, that Reverend Sandy's on vacation this week. And so we're going to have a message from a time-honored and much-loved Unity speaker and personage, Martha Creek. She's actually given us a message before on video. She's widely known in New Thought. Martha's trainings approach deep inner work as an adventure with a sense of curiosity and wonder. A master of the art of right questioning, she calls forth the most stubborn and self-defeating patterns to create a new way of being, literally. Well, that's good because I think that I could certainly use that and probably some of the rest of us could too. A new way of being. Ordained in religious science and divine science, Martha has served as Great Lakes Unity consultant. She is a member of Unity Institute faculty. She has attended Emerson Theological Seminary, Byron Katie School for the Work, and the Hoffman Institute. She's a healthy congregations facilitator and trainer. So here is Martha.
Hello there, friends. Hi. Martha Creek here. Wonderful to be with you. This is an interesting topic today for some, as it deals with the necessity of doing what some traditions called our shadow work. Now, the bad news is shadow work is never complete. So check to see if you have a pulse. So if I have a pulse, then I've got some more deep inner work to do. If you have a pulse, you have some shadow left too. I referred to it when I spoke earlier this month about not believing that we're going to be free of this shadow work. The good news is we can be freer of this shadow, freer of the shadow and the shadow work. So this is a term frequently used in various spiritual traditions and in each faith tradition, I would say. And we'll occasionally see some people state that shadow work is about getting in touch with our trigger points, our core issues, even the dark side of ourselves. So it can start to sound like Darth Vader if we're not careful, versus just looking at what it actually is and what it is not. So it's not about looking at our inner mass murderer. It's not about trying to turn ourselves into a pure being of light and positivity. Because if anything, that has more of a tendency to cause us to spiritually bypass or a total avoidance of actually looking at these aspects of ourselves and then burying them, suppress, depress, disown, deny that they're there. So not dealing with this, burying these negative emotions and thoughts and feelings, and then treating them as something to be avoided, like it's possible, versus it's not possible. They're going to come up. And I know I mentioned Richard Rohr earlier in my talk too, that he encourages us in his writings that we're stresses of both the challenge and the great gifts that comes from working with our shadow self. And that as we get closer to light, as we get closer to being light, as we get lighter, the more of our shadow we see. And can go like, oh, MG, like, are you kidding me? So thus, this truly holy people are always humble people. Holy equals humble. Humility, humble. It's one of my favorite words. It also means literally, and look this up to see if it's accurate. I haven't looked it up in years, but when I did, humility means to be reduced to nothingness. And it's like to nothingness of this shadow, like the most humility, the most humble people are people that are lighter, that are freer of this. And invariably, something's going to upset us. Have you noticed? And we have a strong emotional reaction that's out of proportion even at times. You may even say, where'd that come from? Like, it was out of proportion. So that's the time that our shadow has reared its head. Our shadow self has been exposed. So begin to watch then for your knee-jerk instinctual reactions, overreactions, or over denials, which has been more problematic for me because I could pretend that I was at peace. I could pretend it wasn't bothering me. I could pretend I was calm while my guts were twisted and something inside of me was really stirring because I was in an over denial of just how much under the effects of this I was at times. So the reason that more mature people, emotionally mature people, spiritually mature people can be so calm, can be so peaceful, so accepting of self and others, is that there's not as much left of the hidden parts, the hidden shadow self, the denied self, the depressed, suppressed, disowned parts. So the parts that we have disintegrated are more integrated now. So we're not as likely then to lose our peace and to have these knee-jerk instinctual reactions as we have met these with some understanding and dealt with it. So this is great news because it's a process. Practice makes progress, and in the process, there is progress. And I absolutely know that you are having progress because I know who you are out there in the world, and I'm having progress because I redevote and recommit myself to this kind of work daily, weekly, and monthly. And now for coming up on 30 some years, y'all, since I've been doing this. Well, 50 some, I've been doing it to some degree or another, and 30 years of it as a chosen spiritual practice, a chosen spiritual path, to face the reality that we are with personal baggage. I am with some personal baggage, and that this shadow work then is about looking at carefronting, maybe not confronting that personal baggage, but carefronting that personal baggage, and then working systematically to dismantle it, unpack it, put it away, throw away some of it, and to throw out some of it entirely as it's met with some understanding. Now, this comes with some pain, this comes with challenge for sure. It also comes with a need for some help at times, depending on how deep our triggers are and what the triggering causes in us, and how much deep healing there can be for some that certainly vary on a spectrum from the deepest traumas, post-traumatic stress traumas, and how much we can handle this. So the good news is we don't have to be traumatized in order to do this. We simply need to be human and bring some understanding to our baggage as we unpack it. And every single body, every single human, everybody with a pulse has some of this to do. So personal development is essential in all the instances and all the areas of our life. Spiritual development is necessary for this. And hopefully we can do it with less shame, less blame, less self-hate, less remorse. So it's about taking responsibility of our part, dealing with our issues of that what has been disowned, disintegrated. And for me, in the Course in Miracles says it as, it's not a question if you'll do this or not, it's just a matter of when. And for me, like, how loud will it have to get, or how much does a rug have to be pulled out from under me before I'm actually going to face this? So whether whatever level of degree or grade level of spiritual experience we have, it's not even remotely relevant when we're dealing with this, because whatever's left is left. So, and just because we have a degree, just because we've done yoga for 30 years, just because we're a priest or got degrees or whatever, nobody is exempt from needing to do this kind of work. And if anything, sometimes the further you go spiritually, the more of it you need to do, because whatever's not unpacked, whatever's not been carefronted, cared for, met with some understanding, and in our humanness, then it can feel like we're getting dragged and screamed into doing it sometimes. So when you think it's painful on your own, enroll some kind of help, somebody that can sit with you, witness you, coach, counsel, spiritual direct, anything when you feel like you're in the deep end, in order to get you to a state you need to be in to feel more balanced in it, more capable, more equipped. And I know in my own case, when I don't deal with it, it's how I feel like something has really I've been shoved into the deep end. Or people say, oh, I got hit by a spiritual 2x4, for example. So I'm encouraging myself as I say this today, and encouraging you as I say this today. It's like, I don't recommend that route. Let's do the thing now. Let's continue to do our inner work now and on our own, and with support when needed, before we get shoved into the deep end or the spiritual 2x4 that is cause for our awakening that is necessary for our salvation. And if you're already in a state of feeling like you've been dragged in the deep end, or you've had a spiritual 2 before, please do yourself a favor and don't fight it. Do the work. And I asked somebody 30 years ago, when was enough of this enough? And her very wise answer to me was, sweetheart, if you've got a pulse, your work is not done. So do the work, keep doing the work, and keep on doing the work. And all the way to the grave, there's something that for us to look at, something for us to bring a different level of healing to. So shadow work is an ongoing process. It does not ever stop. I regret to say to you and some, and even to hear it myself, I'm accepting of it in this moment. I'm accepting that it is an ongoing process. It does not stop. And that being in touch with ourselves, self-realization, self-awareness is critical here. Working on our so-called issues is also super critical, and it may not get easier. I can tell you from direct experience, my own, and witnessing the very courageous, brave souls that I get to work with on a daily, weekly, and now decades basis, is even though it's not easy and doesn't get any easier at times, it is super, super rewarding. It is super, super freeing. It is super, super liberating. And even while it may not get easier, things in our life do get easier. The way we are with life does get easier. And this is then its own efficacy in that even though the challenges are still there, the way we relate to the challenges is very, very different, including and especially the relationship with ourselves, the relationship with myself, which is the one soul in the world that I actually have any responsibility for, my own soul's evolution, my own soul's progression, and my commitment not to take my issues out on others and to do anything that would erode the very precious relationships that I have with such good people. So I want to do my own work, and I want to take responsibility for anything that I've got disintegrated, unhealed, uncared for, uncarefronted in me, and to take responsibility in looking at those, dealing with those, and integrating all the aspects of myself. And I want to do it without losing good people in my life or eroding the very precious relationships I have. And we don't always get second chances. So no time like now to look at this work, to do this work, and to recommit to doing it. And to think about, I've got a worksheet that I've used over the years in workshops of where we look at self-differentiated qualities and undifferentiated qualities, which includes blaming, shaming, nitpicking, fault finding, slow to recover, sensitive, covert, thrives in the dark. These things that we often deny about ourselves versus looking to see, not am I those things? Where am I those things? When am I those things? What causes me to do those things? And then through that self-reflection, contemplation, self-awareness, self-realization, and the shadow being brought into the light, so to speak, I have less to be afraid of, that it's going to pop up or rear its ugly head, because I've already looked at its in the face. I've already looked at its dark side, so to speak. And Greg Braden, if you remember his writings from years ago, he's still at it, by the way. And I remember one specific book, I don't recall the title, but he spoke about being this dealing with this darker side of ourselves. And he took himself out on a quest to live in the forest, to go out in the woods alone and to do some of this work. and he was very afraid out there. And he kept seeing these images of monsters in the campfire and in the woods and that. And he could see from his rational mind that they were images. So his rational mind knew they can't harm him, but they were still appearing as monsters, as creatures. So he was still in a fear response to them. And in his devotion, in his commitment to meet these images, these aspects of himself, differently, newly, he realized when he sat with them and didn't turn away from them, didn't run from them, didn't try to control and manipulate and shut them down, that 100% of the time when he stayed with those images, he saw that it was his own face. They weren't creatures at all. They weren't monsters at all. And that all of these faces, images, was an aspect of himself that he hadn't yet met with understanding, with open-heartedness, with power, like our 12 powers in unity, with faith, with imagination. How would I be if I sat with this? With understanding, with will. Like, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to do this harder work, even when it's very, very scary. With power, with faith, with love, with renunciation, with a letting go. The power of life, the ability to move through times like this. And to do it with active in our powers, and less afraid of what could happen from this. So some of you may have that 12 Powers book that I'm speaking of, that was written by Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity. So get a sense as we go into this now a little further, how you may be active in your power of faith. Face any part of yourself, any part that's been disintegrated, disowned, denied, with faith, more active power of faith. That I'm going to know that I'm whole and perfect and complete, that the divinity of me, the eternal, infinite part of me, is the part of me that is real. So I'm going to use faith to move me in that direction and not be as afraid of facing these disowned parts. So active in my power of faith, a love of self, a love of God, a love of the divine, a love of what created me, the love of freedom, the love of liberation, the love of the truth, the love of self-realization, the love of self-awareness, active in that love, the wisdom to know what is true, the wisdom to know what I can change and what I can't, the wisdom to know I've got to live whole and complete and liberated, free, that I cannot deny these parts of myself. So the wisdom to do the work itself, the wisdom to make a very powerful choice and not to continue doing it the way I've done it up until now. The power of understanding. I understand these parts. I understand where I was hurt. I understand where I was afraid. I understand how these parts got disowned. I understand how I could have felt trauma in certain situations and in instances in my life and circumstances. So I'm bringing understanding to those wounded parts. I'm going back for all of those parts through the power of imagination, and to say, imagine how I would live if I was free of this shadow, if I was free of this part that's been disowned. So going toward what is more interesting to me, going toward what is truer for me through the power of my imagination, the power of power itself, that I've got a power in me that is not of me, that comes from something higher than me, a power that comes from creative force, infinite, eternal, that's not, that's an inexhaustible power, not force, power itself. And then the power of strength. the strength to do it, the strength to discipline, the strength to keep my spiritual practice cared for, the strength to look in these scary places, the strength to pull back, roll over the log and see what worms and creepy crawlers are under it, to open the closet, empty the junk drawers, get in there and see, the strength and the discipline to do that. Will and willpower. I have the will to do this, a willingness to do this, a determination through the power of my will to do this, a zeal for it, like some excitement that says, I will do this, that there's real payoff in doing this, and that I don't want to live as anxious and afraid anymore. So I'm remembering my why to do this, a zeal for the outcome of this. And then some order, the power of order, whether it's through journaling, writing, contemplation, reflection, prayer, letting go, allowing for feelings. Order, what order could I bring to this that says the systematic meeting of this with some order of it can absolutely be transformational. The power of life itself, the renewing power of life itself, the renewing power of the mind itself, to renew my mind, to change the way I'm looking at something, to change the way that I have processed this, and to be willing to process it maybe for the first time in my life. And then the power of elimination or renunciation, the power of letting it be, the power of letting it go. And these are represented by the 12 apostles. So if you want more information about the 12 powers, Unity's 12 powers is noted and denoted by Charles Fillmore. You can look them up in that book, or dust off your 12 powers book that may be on some of your shelves and review them there. So Saint Teresa said that the mansion of true self-knowledge was the necessary first mansion on any spiritual journey. True self-knowledge, self-knowing, is the necessary first mansion on the spiritual journey. Once we have faced our own hidden or denied self, there's just not that much to be anxious about anymore. There's less and less fear of being exposed, of exposure. And we're no longer afraid to be seen by ourselves or others. The game we've played, some of the games we've played are over. We're free and freer. We finally are who we actually are, and can be who we actually are, without disguise, without false face, without pretense, and certainly with less fear. So I affirm and know for you and with you and for myself as I speak these words in closing. I know who you are. I know what you are. I know how you serve. You are here, you are here, you are here. I know who you are, and I know whose you are. Namaste. All blessings, friends. MarthaCreek.com to contact me.
Is this good, Kim? About the right size, space? I was inspired today in thinking about our meditation to change the game a little bit, change things around, and I'm glad I did. And things seem to work out in a spiritual and cosmic sense. So I'm going to start with the singing bowl to take us into that place of consciousness where we are one with Spirit, to open our hearts. And then I will focus on our prayer box and a time of releasing our thoughts and our love to those in need of prayer. And then I will lead you through a journey in a parable. And I think you will find it interesting. I hope so. So let us start. Take a deep breath, relax, be prepared for this time of being together with a holy consciousness. And so we come together in a time of prayer. And we lift our hearts and our eyes to those whose names are in our prayer box, knowing that this is not a physical form, not just a shape in space and time, but this is a transmitter, a transcendent bridge to divine spirit. And so we send our love and our care to those temporarily in need of assistance, from those who temporarily are feeling that we have indeed the love of God to share. And I invite you now to take a moment to speak aloud with a high frequency vibration the names of those in our hearts and our minds who also temporarily need our help. That maybe they have forgotten just for a moment that they're one with divine spirit. And they are magically powerful and capable of all miracles, just as divine being is with us at all times and bringing us into that field of infinite possibility. So I speak the name of Denny Martin and bring prayers to his family and friends, and we send love and comfort to them. Speak of Courtney, Jessica, Liam, Archer, Matthew, Brandon, Michael Nancy, and Walker Kirby. And so we say, thank you, sweet Spirit, for as we touch others and share our compassion with them, so our compassion doubles and encircles us and lifts our spirits and our hearts higher and higher. Amen. And now I want to lead you in a journey. I invite you to join me in this journey into a parable. And this parable, I have to acknowledge, originally was the idea and shared by author and educator David Foster Wallace. And I thought this parable was so appropriate, and that our master wayshower and teacher Jesus would certainly enjoy it, because of course this is a fish story and he hung around a lot with fishermen. And I would devote it also to our good friend and loving member of this spiritual community, Denny Martin. And so here's the fish story. So 2 very young fish were swimming along in the great ocean. And as they did so, an older fish approached them going the opposite direction. And when the older fish came up to them, he looked at the 2 young fish and he said, "Howdy, boys, how's the water?" And they did not respond, but swam on, and so did he. And after a while, the two young fish, as they swam along in this great ocean, one of them turned to the other and he said, "What the hell is water?" And so you might think, well, what is the message of this parable? And there are many interpretations, but I invite you to focus on one, and that is that we live in an ocean that consists of 2 states of consciousness. One state is that lower state of consciousness, perhaps unconsciousness, that we seem to be born into as we incarnate in this 3-dimensional world. A state of consciousness where we are fed a sense that we are alone. And we are trained to believe this, that we are a soul isolated and alone in our own skin, swimming with millions and billions of others who are also alone. And so this is a lonely experience, and many times a fearful one and a painful one. And we wish it was not that way, but so we swim on. And then, at some point, we notice perhaps that there is some other soul who does not act like or seem like any of the other fish in the sea, and not like we are. And that other fish teases us or excites us into thinking that maybe there is another way, and offers us a tip, a hint, a gift, offers us perhaps a book, an idea, a hug, a handshake, a course to take, a workshop to be in, maybe a course in miracles. And we begin to see that there is some other way of being in this ocean. And so we swim on, looking for some way into that place of being. And then one day we see someone who we recognize not in person, but by their manner of being, the spirit within them, the joy that emanates from them, and the vibrancy of their spirit. And we follow them, and we find ourselves swimming into a zone, a region that is totally different. There is a warmth there, and we feel ourselves wrapped in love, and our hearts lift in joy. and the other souls around us dance with delight and seem to be in a totally different state of mind. And we want to know what they know and to dance like they dance. And so we listen to what they have to say. And our hearts are quickened, our vibrations raised. But as we swim on, we exit that region, and into the ocean we return, and our hearts once again feel heavy. But we do not believe that is a dream. We know that there is another way of being and another reality. And so we swim on. And we swim with just a little bit more energy and a little bit more sense of our life. And then another day, we see a mist ahead of us and we pass through that mist into a region, again, perhaps the same region or perhaps another one. And in this region, we experience that same love and peace, heartwarming joy. And we dance with the others in that region as they swim and as they celebrate life anew, a life reborn. And so, as we do that, some of our scales fall away. Scales of pain, of guilt, of resentment. Scales that are scars from all the things that we feel that we have lost and that we regret. But we are heartened by being in that region with those friends, with those souls akin to ours. But again, we pass out of that region into the ocean, the great ocean. And we see around us vast numbers who still believe that they are who they were told they were when they entered this ocean. But we speed ahead now, much lighter of soul, much lighter of spirit, and we enter then another region. We pass through that mist once again, and in this new region, we see again what seems like thousands of throngs of other souls dancing in delight, who know who they are and are not confused any longer by the conditioning they received on entry into that ocean. And so we know that we, like them, are somehow different. And we throw our arms wide and we say, I am that difference. I am love. I live in joy and wonder and amazement, and I have compassion and kindness and caring for all those other souls out there. And I want to share that. And I want to be that new being and live in that new state of consciousness. And so suddenly we find ourselves lifted out, and we no longer see the ocean momentarily or that region of lightness and joy when we felt almost weightless. And now we feel our weightlessness. We feel that we are without body, without a corporeal form, and there are no scales and nothing weighing us down. But we are truly one in spirit, and we see ourselves in the divine all-being, knowing our true self. And in that true self, we see around us everything. We see the universe, the cosmos, with billions of stars and planets and beings of all kinds living their lives. We look around and we also know that there is the ocean, and there are the fish billions of fish. And around us we see land and trees and animals and other people, other beings. And it's all happening at once. There is no time and no place but this holy place where we are one with the divine all-being. And we have always been that, and so it is. And so we proceed, we step forward in this new reality, in this new state of consciousness, to continue our journey, our soul's journey. And in that new state of consciousness, we realize the universe within us. And we say, so, this is water. This is water. And amen. And I invite you now to come back into this place, into this now moment of space and time, to continue your soul's life journey now. Take a deep breath, slowly open your eyes, and you are welcome back, and you bring with you that spirit of divine love, of compassion, of wholeness and holiness, of wisdom, of intelligent force, and a heart of kindness with a raised vibrational frequency. And you will take this with you as you leave today and walk with it, in it, and knowing that you have that divine being in you, and you breathe in it, live it, think it, and are always comforted with it. And so it is, and so it shall be. Namaste, and blessings on everyone. And now I invite you to listen for a moment as I share announcements about our activities and events here at Unity. Next Sunday, September 10th, we'll celebrate Friendship Sunday and have our all-church picnic. And we invite you to invite your friends and family to come to the Sunday service and stay for the picnic. There are invitations on the chairs next to you. Please take as many as you like to give to friends and family, and let them know that for the picnic, hamburgers, hot dogs, buns, condiments, and beverages will be provided. And if possible, they are invited to bring a dish to share and a lawn chair. And all are welcome. So please sign up in the foyer or on our website for that wonderful event. We will be observing Unity's World Day of Prayer on Thursday, September 14th And in preparation, you were invited to write a prayer tag on the table in this sanctuary and fill out a prayer list. And you may drop that list in the prayer box outside. And then at 6:30 on the 14th, Reverend Sandy will present a special concluding prayer service, which you may come into in person or watch on Facebook Live. Sunday, September 17th, we'll kick off our new youth education year with our fly-up ceremony, and also our regular youth classes will resume. We want you to know we have all of Emil Toth's books back in stock. Emil is offering them for a donation to Unity of Michiana, with the request that you write a review on Amazon Books, on Amazon, and the books are located in the foyer. And now I'd like to invite Martha McLaughlin up to make a special announcement.
Hi, I just want to take a moment and talk to you about the Niles Scream Park. Next weekend, believe it or not, is opening weekend. So this is the week that we're really busy doing the initial trainings and scheduling our time that we're willing to volunteer. I want to challenge everybody to ask at least one person if they would be interested in volunteering. You'd be surprised how many people are interested and they just don't know how to get involved. This is a great way to have fun and to earn some extra money for Unity of Michiana. I know many people will say, I don't like scream parks. I don't like haunted houses. But you guys, you're the scarer. That makes it a lot of fun. I'll be in the back to answer any questions. So feel free to approach, email, call. Susan, you're welcome to give out all my information. All right? That's it for that. But I wouldn't be the youth coordinator if I didn't say, come to Fly Up, September 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Just a reminder that our Wednesday Zoom group meets on Wednesdays from 6 to 7. Join with us for discussion and conversation, followed by a mindfulness meditation with music. You are welcome anytime. And we send an email with the Zoom link every Wednesday. You may also join the group from your app, our Unity app. As you may know, and as we spoke of, Denny Martin has passed into his next life experience this last Wednesday. And his celebration of life service will be this coming Saturday, September 9th, at Zahoron Funeral Home. Visitation is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., with the service following at 1 o'clock. And everyone, of course, is invited to be there. It's now time for our offertory, for the sharing of bounty of our gifts and tithes. And as a reminder, you may give a tithe by going to our website and clicking the yellow donate button, or by using our app. There's also a basket at the back of the sanctuary where you may place a donation as well. Or you may scan the QR code on the door as you leave the sanctuary. So please join me in our offertory affirmation. Together, God is my support and abundant supply. I give and receive in freedom and in joy. So we say thank you, Heavenly Spirit. We live in gratitude for the wonder of this experience, this existence, for the awareness, the critical awareness and critical consciousness into which you have led us, and for the experience of love, peace, and joy in which we have our freedom. And so, once again, thank you for these gifts as we step out into our daily existence, always knowing that you are there in full abundance, and we enjoy that abundance. And so it goes. Amen. And now, let us all stand if you wish to, and we'll get together in our closing song. John?
Oh, the sun and the wind and rain bring everything we need. The Father and sky above, Mother earth beneath. Peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth. Where we're brothers and brothers all the world around. We lift our voices high in one joyous sound. Peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth, peace on earth.
And now we join together in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And so, blessings on you all week as you walk in your peace and happiness. And join us after service for fellowship, please, in the fellowship hall. Good to see you all.
Shinkill Butch is gonna get Shinkill Butch is gonna get a preacher in those times, jumping on like rivers in the night. All the whiskey by the everybody should. Oh, she killed bushes, wanna catch you away. They used to be just like we They used to be such sweet little boys. Simply ran over this world. It was so joy. Everybody cried. kill butchers on the ride. They're waiting till the dead of night. They're picking out their fingers in the night. They're breaking off the cleavers on their thighs. Well, everybody knows if you don't mind your mother's words, so wicked will from your curls. Everybody share. The chain kill butchers wanna catch you. The chain butchers wanna catch you. Oh,